Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales, both on and off the feld.
Welcome to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 56, and it features high-stakes poker pro Eli Elezra. Now, Eli obviously has an amazing poker resume. In tournaments, he won a World Poker Tour main event at the Mirage Poker Showdown back in 2004 for just over $1 million. He also has 3 World Series of Poker bracelets, the first coming in the 2007 Stud High-Low event, the second in a 2013 Triple Draw event, and the third in a 2015 stud tournament. Later in this podcast, you'll actually hear about a 7-figure side bet that Eli won with one of those bracelets. But of course, it's the cash games that Eli is known for. Eli was one of the first regular occupants of Bobby's room, and during the poker boom, he was often sitting in games as big as 4,000, 8,000, where he could win or lose 7 figures in a single session. And often did. Eli didn't grow up playing poker, however. He grew up in Israel, and he went through a lot as a young man fighting for his country in the war. You'll hear some stories from his time in the Golani Brigade, which is basically like Israel's Green Berets. And you'll also hear about why he moved to Alaska to fish for salmon and hunt whales of all things. And eventually how he ended up in Las Vegas to run a photo hut. Eli was honestly perfect for this podcast. He has stories for days, which is why there is now a book out about his life. It's called Pulling the Trigger, the autobiography of poker pro Eli Elezra, and you'll hear some of those stories right now. That's enough intro. Here's my conversation with Eli Elezra. I am here in the Poker Ghost studio with Eli Elezra. Eli, how you doing?
I'm good, very good. Thank you, Julio.
This has been an interview that's been a long time coming. We've been talking for a few months, trying to get it organized. But now we have your new books coming out, I think, today.
Correct.
So this is January 3rd. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you. Happy New Year for you guys.
But yeah, you got a new book out, and I wanted to pick your brain and give our listeners a taste of Eli.
Love to.
How's your life been recently? I know you had a pretty good summer, right?
Yes, I did.
In the tournament, took second in the 10K Omaha 8 or better, third in the 1500 PLO 8. You know, I know you like to mess around in tournaments from time to time.
Yeah, actually, this WSOP was profitable, even though I played the 50. Usually, when you play the 50K, it's
That's
very
the
hard to
break,
have a profit.
Right?
But yeah, the second on the 10K paid quite a bit, about 300,000, and then. Even the third topped it up. So I made, I think my profit overall in this World Series was approximately $250,000, which is, after everything, is like huge in the World
not
Series
too shabby.
of poker. Yeah.
I want to get back to the beginning, talk about how you even got into poker, how you found the game, because you had a life. You weren't one of these online kids who discovered it in college in online poker and then just went right into poker. You had a career before poker.
That's right, yeah.
November 24th, 1960, Jerusalem, right?
Yes, sir. I was born in Jerusalem. It's like 10 minutes away from Bethlehem, where Jesus was born.
Mm-hmm. Real royalty.
And regular childhood, like me, I got 2 sisters and 1 brother. And, throughout until I finish high school, I don't remember playing a lot. I played one time, actually a couple of times when I was young.
So there was poker even back then for you. You knew the game as a kid.
It was the 5-card poker,
Okay, like draw.
And a funny story that I remember until now, my dad slapped me so hard, is that I was on charge on the money for the, for the, not high school, it was the end of the elementary. So I think
you were really young.
And then I play a street poker, with a 5-card or whatever. And I lost it all, and I had to go home like that and to say that I need to put the money back in the kiddie, for it's all the kids' pocket money. And I got slapped, but I put it back, and I think that might be the very first lesson of bankroll management.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
I'd
there
say so. You
on
lost,
the 8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade. You lost the whole 8th grade's...
Kiddie's money,
you were like the
I would
school
say it was
treasurer?
about probably $18 or something,
What was this street poker you're talking about? Was it like follow the queen or?
No, it was like strip deck.
Okay.
From 9 to ace, and we play the regular, the way that they playing today, the Chinaman, that flush beat full house and
short deck.
Short deck, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So we call it strip deck.
So that was your introduction to the game.
Did
then you stay away from cards after that for a little while?
I stay away until the army. No, not even in the army. I didn't play in the army. I stay away completely, and then when I finished the army...
Well, we can't skip over the army story.
Of course, yeah. But the next time I was again in Poker World would be right in Alaska. So we'll go back to it when I get to the Alaska.
Oh, perfect. Well, okay, so tell me about your childhood. What were you getting into besides, losing the school money?
I played with the, Jerusalem basketball neighborhood team, which go to abroad, to 5 countries in Europe. And I was a point guard. And
you and Doyle Brunson have that in common, right?
Yes, I was shooting about 20 to 25 points a game. It wasn't the elite, team from there, but it was the neighborhood teams. It's some kind of a. And
well, I see you're decked out in Jordan gear right now.
That's right. I'm a Jordan man. I mean, it's so comfortable. It doesn't show my fat. And
how's your jump shot these days?
I mean, it's amazing because I just told Hanks over there when we were talking that I went recently with my kids, to shoot some and to play, and my head is so much faster than what my body can do. So 10 minutes later, I'm laying on the floor, so tired but I'm still going to the gym and trying, but not as good as I used to.
You never had any prop bets, like basketball prop bets back in the day?
No. I actually went for a couple of them when Hawk Seed have the prop bets and couple of the guys, but I didn't.
We'll get to prop bets for sure a little bit later. Okay, so how did the decision come to join the army?
Well, it's not a decision. It's not like here in US. In Israel, it's mandatory. When you're 18, you have to join the army. So we finished the 12th grades, and that's one of the things in my book that I finish in a school that the school is basically mechanic school. So now, when I got to the army, I wanted to be in one like the Green Beret, and they told me over there, sorry. I mean, 6 months before when I was 17 and a half, I put some sandbags on my back, and I run around Jerusalem, 10 miles, 5 miles, 2 miles, really trying to get in shape.
You were
prepping up big time.
And then you thought your education would get you a better spot.
Absolutely. And then when I got there, they said, sorry, you guys, because you've been in this and this school, we're sending you to the Air Force. Nothing against the Air Force, but I really wanted to be in those other groups. So I make a sin or two. And
you made a sin or two?
I don't want to but I was sent to jail.
Yes.
And the army jail, for 3 weeks.
Was your sin refusing to go to the Air Force?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Doesn't seem like
actually
too much of
they
a sin.
sent me to the Air Force.
Yeah.
But right there, I was supposed to do certain things, and I didn't. I didn't go to some of the lessons and some of the classes that they were supposed to have. And
you rebelled against the man.
And then I've been, they took me to the head of the base, and he told me, you're going to have to. And I said, no, I want to go back. So sent me 3 weeks to jail, and then right there, I remember my mom coming to jail, and we wrote a letter from one of the attorney that if they won't let me be, get to this group, and I'm not doing it to try to be a driver or whatever. I will do something for myself. Like, I really threatened them.
Wow.
And a week later, somebody, instead of finish like 6 weeks in jail, after 3 weeks, they came and they let me out, and they sent me to this particular group, and
So you got your way.
I got my way, and
Yeah.
I was an officer in this. It's
Well,
like the
how
Green
was
Beret.
jail? Did you almost crack and say, okay, I'll do
No,
it?
no, it's jail is not like the regular jail that I never been
Yeah,
in
it wasn't
regular jail.
prison, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but in army jail it's kind of it's funny. Yeah,
Okay.
It's easy. It's not as bad.
You just got
Yeah.
some quiet time. You didn't have to run as
Yeah,
much.
and then I did those. When I go there, I was in amazing shape, and I passed. You're supposed to. I think there are about probably 1,000 soldiers coming,
Yeah.
and they accepting only like 40 of us, and I passed it easy.
This was the defense force?
Correct. It's like it's called Golani Brigade.
Okay.
So it's like the Green Beret over here, and passing that was one of my goal, and I did. And
What kind of test did you have to do to get through that? Like
oh my God, it's
physical and mental, I'm sure.
very very physical one. Like some of it you have to literally walk for 24 hours.
What?
24 hours walk, 120 kilometer, which is I would say about 80 miles or so.
Oh my God.
And then you have to do 60 kilometer, which is about 35, 40, with somebody on top of
Carrying like a body, dead weight.
yeah, like with 4 of you have to do that, and then you get really bloody over here.
Oh man.
And then some of the stuff you have to go into the sea and come back, and you're dirty. And then
The army had cars, right? I mean, it just seems like
yeah.
they were very focused on your endurance.
One of the things now they don't allow it anymore, but one of the things we did over there, it's called a week starvation week.
Oh my God.
And you and your partner, for the whole week they give you a small box with food, and you have to
You
survive.
have to ration it.
And small story short, we finished it after the first day, and for 6 days we just ate something for flowers and from the stuff that
You made it last a day?
What?
Whose fault was it? Yours or yours?
The other guy was I would say 300 pound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was only like 200, he was 300
So
pound.
you ate it all defensively.
But that's why I've said to people, people ask me, how do you get these balls in poker? And I said to really get to be a good poker player,
Yeah.
you have to go 4 years in the army, 4 years in Alaska, and then
Yeah, you do that, you're fearless at the tables, right?
That's
What else
right,
can, how could you even be afraid to pull a big bluff when you've been through that? All right, so you end up being a badass in the Israeli military, and worked your rank up, like, right? You went all
and
the way
then
up
I
to
become a lieutenant.
a
You
lieutenant.
have to sign another year, so I did, and then I become a lieutenant. Yeah.
So what were your responsibilities? Obviously, there was the war.
And that was exactly during the war in 1982. It's
Mm-hmm.
called the Lebanon War. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's, when I had like 25 soldiers under me, and some of them died, like 8 of them died during the war, and I got wounded a couple of times, and
What happened to you?
I got one day we were taking care about the tank division, and they asked my group to take care about the tank division above the mountain of the Beirut airport, and at 5 o'clock I give the soldier the last before we go and take the last instruction what to do that night, and all of a sudden we get artillery falling of us. So I ask my second guy, as soon that he started, because we started, he said, run, because his tank, was closer.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm run to yours, you go ahead and get to mine, and need to give the order. So I got to mine, immediately I put my radio on, and I said, okay, and as I put it in, I heard my name on the radio, my code name, that I'm in fire, blowing up. As it turned out, the moment he got there, he got a direct hit, and him and the 4th soldier. So if I would
On your
run
vehicle?
on my vehicle,
Oh my God.
yeah, tanker. So that was the first time I blew. I got out of
Yeah.
the tank, I ran, and I tried to save him, and I couldn't save him.
Yeah.
So that's the first save. The second one was a week later. right there in Beirut airport, we got shots, like so many shots from one of the tall building. So I run with my soldier, with the whatever left of the 16 of them into the building, run, and I said, let's go, come in, and take your guns up. Then I feel somebody throwing a huge rock into my body, and I fall down in the back, and I touch, and I see it okay, and they come and say, are you okay, officer? I say, I'm okay, let's go, and they do it again, and then again, I feel like, bah!
Yeah.
Falling in the back. I'm okay. We got to the guy, I got it like, it's called Lao, T-Lao, like the RPG, boom, I got to this terrorist, and the building was clear, and, killed those guys. And then that was about 3 a.m. So 4 a.m. I telling my guys, a couple of them got shot and are killed on this one too. Let's go, and we need to get the big commander come, and the helicopter come and pick him up. Then all of a sudden one of the soldiers said, wow, look at it. And then they look, I have I have 3 grenades.
You had all the adrenaline.
The bullet go through the clips and the grenade. And I find the bullet with hole in my shirt, and the other side I have a knife, like diving knife, and he hit it and he broke the knife. Both of those bullets, I still got them, and I still got the clips and everything.
So those were the what you felt going into the building.
That's what I thought.
The first
the
one
rock
was,
that hit me.
Yeah.
The first one hit the clips, and the second one hit the.
Oh, how lucky are you that it didn't hit the grenade?
And then when I play with somebody and he beat me with the aces against 5, they said, you're unlucky. I said, don't worry, I'm very lucky.
Oh, man. Yeah, you can't say one time anymore.
That's it. Right.
Brutal. But obviously, going through something like that, that's got to have an effect on you. You know what I mean? Was that part of the reason why you moved to Alaska?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I moved to Alaska because the 4 years ended and I was going to resign. But then
you wanted to go back, going through all that.
So that's when this happened. 2 weeks later, we have another big things in all the the My Golani Brigade and other. We have a big getting together for another big operation.
Mm-hmm.
And during this last operation, I basically broke my leg, and taking one couple of wounded people, and I was in a cast for like 2-3 months. So during those 3 months was exactly when I was supposed to be discharged. So I told my big commander officer, I'm going to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
I'll be doing this 3 months over there, and then I'm coming back and I'll keep going. And so he said, they gave me that's how I got my visa actually to America at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
And of course I went to Alaska.
So you were going as like time off?
Yes, time off and come back to the army again.
What made you pick Alaska for some time off?
Because one of the officers in our group said
Mm-hmm.
that he made $8,000 a month on a ship, on those big boats fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me the address and everything, and that's where I go.
So you didn't really want time off. You wanted to make some money.
Exactly. Time off to make money. Because in the Israeli army, as an officer, I made only $500
really?
a month. That's it. Yeah.
Wow. Even at your rank, huh?
Even in the rank. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's really nothing compared to what, So in America, you volunteer basically and getting a lot more money. In Israel, it's, mandatory. So that's how I got to Alaska. I actually go there.
What, did you have
and
a job lined up?
And I made a lot. The job was, you didn't have to. They looking for people, and my leg was kind of better. So I started cannery. I was working in the cannery.
Yeah. I was about to say, is this like deadliest catch kind of thing, or where you're out there crabbing?
So salmon. Yes, salmon was on the
on
the salmon boats, getting huge salmons, and salmon on the cannery. And then I worked there, and I made a lot. I made like the first month about, I would say $20,000, $24,000 for
what?
me. For me, it was in 3 months. I'm saying 3 months. So, and then the season is over. What you do, I don't know.
That's good money today.
So I said, you know what? I'll travel now because my leg still wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I went for a year and a half all over the Far East, every country, from Thailand to Burma to Japan to this. I went, and then, what do I go back to Israel broke? No, I better go. And then that's where I knew. I came back to Alaska again. I spent a couple more years, and that's where I knew that I'm not gonna. I decided I probably want to leave. And, I'm a patriot, Israeli patriot, but I love the idea that I can get rich, and and start in my life in America, and that's how everything began.
Yeah, you chased the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
But what were you doing? I mean, you said you worked in a cannery, so I mean, were you just like weighing catches and stuff?
The second time,
the
the first time we went on a boat in cannery, and on a boat you make money. As much fish as you bring, you get percentages. And it's freezing, and you have to get the net, but it's nothing compared to the army.
I guess so. I mean,
everything was so easy. So.
But you were like, who's this badass with the bum leg who's like ripping huge nets over the side?
Oh, I was in amazing shape. It just, everything was, 18 hours straight at the cannery was nothing, I get paid overtime and everything. And then the second time I did some more stuff, then I start like a small, with my brother-in-law arrived to Alaska with me, and then he said, he was a businessman, so right away he said, let's buy this one. It's like 7-Eleven. We bought it, and then we develop ourselves, and we make a little bigger money.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it sounds like you were a hustler from the beginning, huh?
Yeah, I was. 4 years in Alaska, during the 4 years, this last 2 years, actually, when we will start driving taxis there, and then we open the 7-Eleven, and then we see the local people playing poker. So that's where really pick up on poker. That's why I didn't even know what stud Edo Beder, Omaha, and then there was a couple of those guys that teach us those things, and I fell in love there. We used to play for many hours, the whole weekend. Start Friday, finishing Sunday night.
When you were the salmon guy, the taxi guy, the convenience store guy, were you also the fish in the game, or? Were you winning back then?
I was winning right away. You believe it or not, because they were very bad. We play with them, and then I realized, wow, sometimes in poker you have to know that you got it. Mm-hmm. So when you know that, okay, I think I can bluff him, and he throw a middle pair away and stuff like that. Yeah. And right there, I start picking it up.
That came very naturally to you.
The fish thing came when I arrived to Vegas. Then I was one of those fishes.
But you felt like you had a natural sense of you could size people up, see where they were at, and
absolutely,
use that to your advantage.
Right there, that's before the math and everything else. That you have to count into the game. You have to count in your hands and stuff. Right there, That's where I start playing poker with some business people in Alaska.
Well, what was it like running a taxi?
Driving a taxi, actually, again, you're making so much money per day that we used to make like $250, $300 a day. That's big money. But again, I took them to when they go to work at 6 a.m, and I returned them from the bar at midnight. Mm-hmm. So I was there working all day. Yeah. But
you were grinding.
Yeah, but I was grinding big time. But I wanted to, I realized you have to be successful only when you work hard.
Had you already met your wife by this point, or?
No.
I'm trying to find the source of your motivation.
I met her in Vegas, when I got to Vegas.
So you moved to Vegas in 1988?
87.
87, yes. Right? And your goal is not to be a professional poker player, right?
No,
you had other businesses.
Actually, my brother-in-law, Pini, is my partner. He said, okay, Alaska, with all the respect, in this Alaska, we have 6 month light and 6 month dark, Yeah. It's really... And it's like, if it's not the end of the world, you can see it from there, So
that's right. I didn't even ask you, how did you like living in Alaska? I mean, for a lot of people, it's a depressing
below. You spit and it's like corn falling on the floor. That's how freezing it. It's not even Anchorage, Yeah. It's 30 miles above the Arctic Circle. It's a place called Kotzebue.
Okay, so this isn't even a big town.
No, it's a 3,000 people. I love this town. I love it. First of all, it's like 85-90% Inupiaq, they call, not Eskimo. Yeah. Inupiaq, it's, the natives. And the other 10% is the white, and one Jewish Israeli.
One ex-lieutenant who's hauling 600-pound nets.
So I got there, and that's where the first time my eyes was open, Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I go on a boat with them, and they're hunting, belugas. So I hunt belugas, whales, and then we go and got hunted bears and caribous and moose, and I love the lives.
You have a good bear story or a good whale story?
I love the lives right away over
crazy.
there. It was amazing. Alaska was wow.
So the weather didn't bother you, the darkness didn't bother you?
No, because you're putting a jacket all the time, and you're always in a taxi or you're always inside the house, and it's freezing outside, but there's no reason to spend outside.
Yeah.
It's like in Vegas, we're in so much hot, but we're in air condition all the time. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've mastered nature. All right, so you moved to Vegas, and was this when you got the 1 hour photo booth?
Yeah, so that's exactly my partner said, I'm done.
Yeah.
With all the respect.
We have a lot of young listeners who don't understand what you're talking about right now, processing film. And
Yeah, so what he did, he said, Alaska, he have his 2 girls, Agar and Neta, and my sister, Penina. They're all in Alaska with him. So he said, I thought America is different. I'm going back to Israel, but I'm going to go to Disneyland first, Las Vegas, and then. He left, got everything, left. We said goodbye. And then he said to me, he called me from Las Vegas, said, listen, there's some 30 minutes for not 30, it was 60 minutes for the booth to sell. Why don't you come and check it out? I said, where are you? He said, Las Vegas. He didn't say, he was inside the Harris Hotel.
Whoa.
It was Holiday Inn back then. So that's all what you have to say. I got the first plane, Alaska Airlines from there.
You'd never been?
I never been to Vegas before,
Yeah.
no. Got the first plane to Vegas. I got here. We got immediately into all the money that we save in this 7-Eleven. We bought this guy. He have this lab plus another photo, 60 minutes photo.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner, Penny, have very good hands. So immediately, the moment we bought them, we invest money and we bought the newer machine. I changed the name from Films Developed in 60 minutes to Films Developed in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was one of the first in the country.
Yeah.
The whole US to do 30 minutes developing, because the machine did it in 18, and we were busy. Like those are the days that the Mirage opened. We were so busy, and
people pay extra to save that 30 minutes.
Exactly. So that's the developing. That's
what did you know about film? Nothing.
Nothing. He is the one. My partner was the one. I didn't.
Yeah.
He's a businessman basically. So if you put him any place. He's the one that sell ice to the Eskimo, what you call. He's a good businessman.
Yeah, so now you're in Vegas, and obviously the cards are calling to you, right?
So now the photo lab, the films developed in 30 minutes, and 60 minutes was right in front of the Stardust Hotel. And it's where the Silver City Casino used to be. So every day by lunch, we go and eat there, and then we eat there. Then I go by the poker room, and I go by and I see. So the moment we finish work, I used to go straight over there, and I used to sit down, and I used to lose. They kind of lick their lips when they see me coming. They play Raz, and then only later I heard there was some deals with the dealers. There was some cheating in the old Stardust days, and I remember
people playing partners, that kind of stuff.
Partners and everything. So at the beginning, I came in. He saw it to me. I go back to Alaska. I sold all what we have. I came back and start working, and within 6 months, I would say I'll go like at least. Every other day to play poker.
Yeah, you were hooked.
And every time
even though you were losing.
Yes, and every time I need, because I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it. I realized I find something that I love. And that's exactly...
Well, how big were you playing? Were you just dipping your toes in a little bit?
Yes,
or?
yeah, I would say 5-10, 10-20, then 20-40. Probably the most was 20-40 that we play over there. But it's still, you need a few $1,000s, it's not easy.
Yeah. Do you remember who the people were back then you were playing against? This was, what is he, early 90s kind of thing?
I think that few of them, they used to come with a jogging suit, to sit down. I think I still remember some faces, but nothing in particular.
Nobody who survived to today?
No. And that's exactly the time I met my wife. And her father used to come.
Hila?
Yes, Hila. Her father managed for Meshulam Riklis, the Riviera Hotel. Meshulam Riklis is one of the Israeli millionaires. And he brought him over here. And then I met her in one of the Israeli parties, the Israeli holiday called Purim. And from here to here, we got together. And 5 kids later, and
was she attracted to the gambler or the film processor?
I did when I remember the first time she never walked to casino. The first time I told her I'm playing and I'm doing business. She didn't take it seriously, the playing.
Yeah.
But then I kind of grew up together with her. I mean, I was in the 2040 days.
Yeah.
And then when we met and I asked her to marry me and everything, that was in 1989 and 90. As I said, we have 5 kids and 4 grandkids. And right there, and I would say when the Bellagio opened, I jump immediately. Actually, no. Stardust, then the Mirage opened, and then I play a lot in the Mirage, I remember. The highest game was 75, 150, and then at some point we play with Jay Botchman, David Gray, and all those people. Howard Lederer, his sister, and we play 500,000.
That was the biggest it got
The
to
biggest
at the
it
Mirage?
got, yeah, we played there like...
Because the Mirage was like the first big, where the high roller started.
Correct. That's where we started, and the Mirage always been good to me. I won my WPT at the Mirage.
That's right.
Which is but I remember that one day they came to us and said, when the Bellagio was open, they said, guys, sorry, you cannot stay at the play over here. The high limit is over. We said, no, I want to stay here. No. Bobby Baldwin said, all the high limit game moving to Bellagio. Basically, we had no choice.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how that happened.
Oh, that's exactly how that happened.
I just assumed the Bellagio opened up because they were both owned by the MGM,
Bobby
right?
Baldwin rule, and he said, we're going over there, and that's
Wow.
it.
Bobby's just like putting his foot down.
Yeah, and he bought it. The biggest game over there.
Did he name the room after himself?
No, I think that actually Doug Dalton named the room after him. But I mean, couldn't be anybody better for poker than Bobby Baldwin.
Yeah.
He's an All-Famer. He won the World Series, and he loved poker. So every hotel that he built, and he's built all of that, he always have the poker around.
Right.
They knew. He is one of those guys like Jack Binion, that took it from his father, that knew how to take care about us. That's your I don't know if you're too young for that, but the horseshoe days, to give us the buffet ticket all the time. And if you remember, even the Bellagio, when we used to play in a room upstairs, the beautiful room.
The Fontana Lounge.
The Fontana Lounge. They always come and give us, Jack used to give us the buffet ticket and everything.
Yeah.
They take care about the players. So that's all because Bobby Baldwin, yeah.
Yeah, because I think people don't realize poker players were treated like second-class gamblers in the late 90s because you don't make money off poker players. You make money off of slot players and pit players.
Forget people, but that's a little bit out of subject. Even my family. I mean, at the beginning, up to the moneymaker era, or up to the day that I won the WPT, I remember even none of the family liked it. My mom liked it, because you're a gambler, basically, And especially when you're a gambler that's losing at the beginning, nobody likes it,
Yeah, of course.
So that's also part of it. But go back to the Mirage. So he told us, okay, guys, you're leaving. You're going to the Bellagio. And amazing. The Bellagio, the moment I started, immediately it was 1 in 2015 and 3. And then a couple of years later, we played 2, 4, 3 and 6, 4 and 8,000.
But were you like a known high-stakes player at this time? Or
yes,
you had already graduated to that level?
I kind of graduated to this level and I start winning. Start winning and paying the IRS a lot of money for making it. And all of a sudden, I find something that I realize it's bigger than my business. And by the way, that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that people making. I would suggest anybody that's listening to your podcast over here that's saying, don't ever give up a day job. Because during the time that we're playing the high stakes poker, and I'm sure you're going to get into it, I remember so many people, they interviewed me to NBC and I said to them, there's hundreds of thousands of players want to be like Tom Duan, like Joe, but there's only few of them that can be like him. He was genius, and we're losing the McDonald's employees, because everybody think that we don't want to work for $5 an hour.
Yeah,
we can do it like Tom Duan and win 100,000 or 500,000 or whatever. And no, keep your job. If you're an attorney, be an attorney, but it's very important because
poker's there at night if you need it.
It's there at night, and me and you knows, and everybody that listen to it, there's a lot of poker players that went broke. We call it poker hospital. I've been there many times. I lost everything that I have, and lucky enough, I have enough in my business that I can put myself on my feet,
Yeah.
But a lot of those high-limit poker players, and people knows who I'm talking about, had to start from beginning, and it's very rough,
Yeah.
Poker is not as easy as much as I love it. I just love poker,
That being said, like, to get to your level, to get to Bobby's room, to play in the Ivy room, against the world's best, you kind of have to go all in poker, right? I mean, because it's kind of hard to keep your day job, I would assume, and get to be elite after that.
Absolutely, you're right. Not only
kind of like an actor going to
even
Hollywood,
then, even then, when I start playing higher, I made several more mistakes in my life with my bankroll management, and I went broke, and I borrowed money, and I went broke again.
What were the mistakes? Just playing too big,
playing way above my
against the wrong people,
and against the best player. But it's funny because people don't believe it until today, and I wrote it on my book. Playing with Chip and Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
We used to play three-handed for a couple of years. I made most of my money playing those short-handed because Doyle even said short-handed, it's probably my style, you know. And Barry Greenstein wrote it even in his stuff that he wrote, what is Eli quality. By the way, Doyle called me Eli. It's Eli Elezra. It's correct, yeah. Mm-hmm. But because Doyle, I even call myself Eli sometimes. But during those...
I hope I said Eli at the beginning.
You did. But during those days, I make so good. And then when the game fill up and then we play higher, you know, he hunt me. I didn't think long enough. I hope today I'm doing better. But look, I'm not ashamed to say that I'm not playing in Bobby's room those days. Those days, the game are 25-5 and 2-4 and even 5-10. I see Phil and Gaz and those guys playing.
Yeah.
I would have it. I'm enjoying myself so much on my limit now, on the 80-160 and playing 1 and 200 and playing 2 and 400. The way you see me now in area, I'm enjoying myself. Yeah. It's not a life-changing numbers. Back then, it was life-changing numbers. People used to come from Israel and said, every day you lose a win, 200,000-300,000, you're selling and buying houses.
Yeah.
And I think it's a period of my life that gave me a lot of love to poker. I guess introduced me to the world with the high stakes poker with anybody, you know, with anything else. I would never ever imagine that, Matt Damon will walk to Bobby's room and shake my hand and Doyle's hand before, it's unbelievable, stuff that it's out of this world. That everybody loves poker and everybody see you on TV.
Well, before we got into this, we're in the Poker Go studio. Thank you to Maurice Kandani for opening it up for us, letting us record in here. You were telling me a great Maury story about and giving him thanks for making you famous a little bit, right?
Yes, it's funny. We were playing in Bellagio, and then Maury walked in and said, he knew every one of us, Chip, Doyle, me, Gus, Phil Ivey, who else was there? Barry Greenstein. And then he said, guys, I want this game. I want to film this game. So Chip turned around and said, what do you mean? He said, I'm going to pay you guys. I'll pay you about $1,200, $1,300 an hour, but I want to film. I want you. So Doyle turned around and said, we're allowed to do whatever we want. He said, whatever you want, you come to the... So 3 months later, we find ourselves playing in the Game Show Network, and the first season, I think it was in Golden Nugget.
Yes,
and we brought with us the props. The props, if you remember. So I remember the prop was much bigger than the game. And
really?
Yeah, it was so much bigger. So all of a sudden,
this was you like betting on whether the flop is red or black or...
Correct. It was a little more complicated, whether the flop have your numbers or the suits that you have. And every time we used to say, oh, I see it. And then we pick up the paper and we start writing it down. So on the second year, Maury came and said, guys, let's drop this one. I know I told you I left the game the same way, but the mom and papa out there doesn't understand what the heck is going on with it.
Yeah, they have no idea.
So we did drop it, and we...
Can you imagine if you've never seen poker before and you just see the best players in the world screaming about spades on the flop, and they're like, what are they doing?
So he was correct, though. So we stopped it. Never mind that later on, if you remember Phil Ivey, I was there in a game that him and Zygmunt was flipping for $50,000 every black or red or whatever.
Yeah, you can't stop it forever.
But we did start it, and then I think the first couple of years, Golden Nugget, then we did some of the, which is the other hotel we did. We did the Palm Casino, and we did the South Point Casino, and then we did and then now Aria took all over.
Now everything's here at the Aria.
Yeah, everything is here. And then, of course, we have the Poker After Dark that Full Tilt was one of the biggest, supporter for it. And I mean, I just enjoy myself. And 5 out of 6 seasons that I play, because the 7th season they didn't let me play because I was belonged to Full Tilt Poker Star. I won 5 out of 6 seasons for playing just regular ABC. You know, back then it wasn't the GTO. You know, game theory optional. you didn't. You come and you play regular poker. You know, and I mean.
Well, you said before that you excelled at short-handed. I guess maybe because of your aggression.
I believe it's because of my aggression.
But your leak was full ring, and maybe that's because you get bored? What do you think?
No, I kind of try to adjust myself those days, and even that. But you're right, full, I get bored. Maybe I play more of the 6-7 suited, you know. But I can tell you that even during those times that we play the high stakes, it was fun. Until today, when I see people, they talk to me, said, listen, seeing those days, I mean, nothing against WPT or whatever, but that you have, everybody said you have the regular queens against ace king, and you have this, and once in a while you'll have somebody that come and be like Daniel Negreanu that play so many hands and all that, and then win those tournaments, if you remember. But most of the time, when you play those high stakes with those guys, you have the character over there. You have the hands with Daniel and Gus Hens on the quad. You have the David Benjamin. You have the, you know, all those, even the world champ that came and tried to talk to Doyle about folding hand. What is his name? Jamie Gold and stuff. So we
actually, Maury said that was his favorite moment on the show, was Jamie Gold trying to talk Sammy, I think, into
on the kings and aces. Yeah. I mean, some of those moments, I mean, I remember that, like, and just being invited to every one of those shows, we basically was small compared to what we play in Bobby's room back then, you know. So we come and you're trying to splash some, you know, and everybody tried. And I mean, I'm sure that what Maury and Gary Katz doing now, it's beautiful. They bringing it back, and you can see some good shows lately, and I'm always happy to be invited over here to the Poker Go. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in talking about those high stakes games and the props specifically. Were there ever any nights where you won and the props completely erased all your winnings, or vice versa, where the props saved you?
I think that easily I won probably, I would say, at least 500,000 or more, like 800,000 in props, and lose in poker way more than that, or the opposite. I lost in poker and won in props many times. I was there one day, Phil Ivey, me, Gus, Lyle Berman, and Doyle. And we have something that you own for double and triple, right? So Phil Ivey was on for triple, and Doyle wanted to quit. It took Doyle about 2 hours because he kept hitting his prop. It took 2 hours, and it cost him $1 million by the time Phil did not hit it. Phil had every chip on the table, you know.
Oh my God!
And Doyle was cussing
because he was waiting for it.
He wanted to go. He wanted to leave and go home. I mean, there's nobody like Doyle Bronson, man. Doyle is poker. Doyle is everything. He's I just love the guy. You know, after Chip died, we got much closer. You know, and I learned so much, you know, from those guys, from him and Chip. You know, most of those days and hours and hundreds of hours I play with them, I see so much qualities, you know, from Chip. You know, he's definitely the best before Phil Ivey. You know.
Well, that brings me to a question I was going to ask you a little bit later. Is like, and I asked Doyle this on the podcast. Who's on your poker Mount Rushmore? I mean, you've seen these guys up and close. You've played with the best in the world and the highest stakes games in the world. Who are your 4 heads that you put on Mount Rushmore there for poker?
I mean, I have to put Doyle.
Excluding yourself, obviously.
Of course, yeah. I have to put Doyle in there. Phil Ivey is the guy that when I play with him in any game, well, actually, the mix, I'm a lot more comfortable. But any other, you know, you feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's like the Stu Unger of the old days, you know. Phil is so natural. And then, I mean, nobody can take from Phil Almuth what he did. You know, what Phil Almuth done and what Daniel Negreanu doing for poker is just no better ambassadors. You know, I don't care if Phil behaving so bad, you know, and seeing on WSOP, but 14 bracelet, buddy, it's 14 bracelet. Yeah. By the way, we are very good friends. And what Daniel do, I mean, with Poker Stars, this is just the most unbelievable. So those four definitely have to be there.
I'm surprised you didn't go all old school. I like that. Like,
No, it's those four, and of course, like if you play with a guy like even Jason Mercier and John Monet, and you see some stuff that they do in poker that no other people do in poker, and you can appreciate it. I mean, I can see immediately if somebody got it immediately and somebody don't. And this is
well,
amazing.
that leads into to my next question.
Yes.
You're 58, so you still got plenty of time left in the game. Doyle's 85, and he's still, playing. They just announced that he's going to get his own TV show, basically.
Yes.
His own cash game
That's
TV
what
show here on
Maury
Poker
told
Go.
me. Yeah.
But who's going to be the next Doyle? Who's going to be playing into their 80s? Who of the young generation today do you see and go, that guy could be the next, whatever?
Well, first of all, he's still there together with Billy Baxter, that is a legend by himself. And then
Exactly.
you have the Lyle Berman, that if he would be less, he loved more poker than his business
Lyle's
lately.
making moves with WPT.
I mean, John Juanda kind of disappeared a little bit, but he was there. I mean, Eric Seidel is one of the best. I mean, Mike, I wish Mike Saxton will play a little more, but together with a lot of new faces, you said, that will go all the way. First of all, God, if you hear me, let me play until 85 or 90, because I love poker. I mean, people laughing, but...
you got another 30 years in you playing high stakes?
When these nice things came with Joey, now Ingram, that he got this 30,000 pass with PokerStar to this... young girl and her boyfriend that was crying.
Yeah.
I tweet right over this tweet and I said, finally I find somebody that loves poker as much as I do.
Yeah, that's right. That was the, who was that? Jeremy Hilserod?
It was amazing. Amazing to see
the
it.
viral video this Christmas who won a $30,000 tournament seat.
Exactly.
Check it out on Card Player.
I'm not crying in a poker table, but I do cry in movies.
Yeah.
But in poker, I
But
cry.
that's how much you love the game. Like,
I love the game. I just, I tell a lot of other people. Some people like golf, some people like traveling, some people, I think poker really create me,
Yeah.
Really.
All right, well, I'm ready to go with some rapid fire questions. If you
Okay,
are.
sir.
First of all, you have 3 WSOP bracelets. I believe I was there for a big one that you won.
I remember.
I was covering it. This was you and Scotty, heads up, right?
That's right, yeah.
Can you tell me about that bracelet?
Amazing. That was the first one. It's the Star Date or better. And that was only, I think, $2,000 buy-in. I don't remember what was the buy-in, but it's, I really wanted to win bracelet. The WPT.
3,000.
Yeah. So the WPT was one thing, but I wanted to put something on my belt. So I remember, all the famous people make the final table, me, and then we finally got to heads up, and you were there. Scotty, I had most of the chips, I think. I have him 2-1 or 2.5-1 in chips. Then all of a sudden he ordered his Michelob, and then the next things I see, he got 2.5 or 3-1 on my chip. So I call for Michelob too.
I believe both of you had ordered 52 Michelobs between the two of you. But you had money on the line. There was only 100 or 200K up top.
That's right.
But you had a prop on the side.
I remember Barry Greenstein came, and Barry was going to lose 250,000 to me.
Why?
Because right before, we were at Bobby's room, and right before Chip said, what is I remember Barry come, and Barry said, anybody want to lay me 3.5-1? I'm going to win bracelet this year.
Yeah.
And that was a week before. And then I see they making some bet, and Phil Ivey make bet, and this one. And I said, what would you give me, Barry? So Barry said, I'll give you 10-1 if you win bracelet this year. So I took it.
No respect.
I took it for 25. There was no respect whatsoever. Because he knew that I like to play a lot of hands. So I took it for 25,000.
And also, if a cash game's good, you'll just skip 6 tournaments,
That's right. So 25,000 on that to win 250. And then I bet Barry, I bet Todd Bronson, I bet Phil, I bet Gus, I bet David Benjamin, I bet so many of them, and each of them I bet 50 on 3.5-1, on 4-1, and whatever. It was funny because none of them won, and I was the only one who won. I won $1 million on this one. The price
That's what
was.
I'm saying. Like they said, I know you won 250K from Barry. I didn't know about the other 750 grand.
Yeah, because I beat every one of them because everybody said he's gonna win it, and he didn't win it, so I won.
Wow, $1 million, and first place was only 198K.
And of course, the first bracelet is always tickling.
Yeah.
You know, it was very.
Well, I always ask people, where do they keep their bracelets? Are yours like in a safe, or are they on display? Or
They're not even display. I think my wife. I gave it to my wife. We have it at the house someplace. Yeah.
she's got all three somewhere,
Yes.
just in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, it's not like I love this commercial of Eric Seidel when he
Oh
come.
yeah, the
He
old
come with
Fotel
all
one.
the name,
Jingling all his
jingling
his
all his
bracelets.
bracelets.
Oh, when he was dealing, that's right.
That's
That's right.
right.
All right. Let's talk a little bit. I've read that you had a $1.8 million session once. Is that the biggest session of all time?
That's let's start with the bad news first.
Okay.
The biggest losing in my life was 1,350,000 or 300 and some thousand. That was when I played with the game was start 2 and 4,000, and then we kick it up to 3 and 6,000, and we play with John Wayne. Is the original from Kentucky. Is the governor of Kentucky used to be, and then he's the original Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right. He was the guy
Brown, John Wayne
who
Brown,
ran
yeah.
KFC,
Exactly. So
and he was the governor of Kentucky.
correct. And I remember playing in this game, and they say, "Oh, good game." I was the good game. I play, I think, about 30 hours. Chip went home, come back, went home, come back, went home, and everybody celebrate on me. I remember that she didn't want me to drive back because it was 38 hours or whatever, and I came home, and I basically was talking to myself. Why do I need stuff like that? Why are you losing those kind of number? I mean, you have served the biggest donkey in the world.
This was a limit game.
A limit.
Oh, I did
no,
not-
it's a limit game and 150 cap on the big
On the
bet.
big bets, okay.
So
yeah.
we play the PLO, no limit hold'em, no limit deuce. So that was the biggest losing in my life. But going in sharp to the other side,
Whoa, I gotta ask one more. What makes you stay 30 hours when you're down seven figures? Like,
the thinking that I'm not the one, you know.
you're just like, I gotta stay.
The guy is the one,
He's gonna
you know.
give it back. He's gonna
Yeah.
give it back.
And I just lost pot after pot and hours and drink more coffee and more coffee and that's another thing of those not good management or not good.
Yeah.
You can't think. There's no oxygen going to your brain. Those days,
And that erases 6, 7, 8 great sessions.
easy.
Yeah.
And then of course going sharp to the other side, I did it in 8.5 hours. I won 1.85 million. It was me, Johnny Ward, Sammy Faha, Ted Forrest, and I think Ming or somebody.
Ming Lai?
Yeah, we played 3-6, kick it to 4-8, then 5-8. Sammy Faha was losing, and then he was 250 cap or something, to 4-8, and one of those days it doesn't matter what you play, you hit the flop. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And then I feel like nobody can touch me. I'm untouchable. No poker player can ever play me. That's what they say.
Was there any
Cards
particular
can make you or
hands?
break it.
Was there any particular hands during the session that stick out, or is it just one of those?
No, one of those.
You always had set over set or something.
Exactly. That's exactly what's.
So how do you celebrate a $1.8 million session?
Oh my God! You come home and of course going to a good dinner and open a good bottle of wine and your high is just scary. No drugs can get you that high.
Yeah. How do the highs compare to the lows?
I would tell you it's the low is much worse than when you get high because you can wipe immediately the high. But this pain of the pain that I got when I lost that much money was my parents on all their lives. My mom was a kindergarten teacher, and my dad was a post office employee in Israel. Never make this kind of money that I lost in one day.
Right.
Yes.
So how do you? Yeah, the guilt.
I mean,
gotta be.
just think about stuff like that, and well, I guess I don't know. You have to be in a low to appreciate the high, and vice versa.
Exactly. Yeah. If you've never been down low, you're not gonna care about the highs at all.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about the biggest sessions, biggest pot you've ever won or lost. You ever played a
biggest pot I won was $680,000.
Wow.
It was me and Gus and Lyle Berman. I have the 9-10 heart.
Okay.
And
This is Hold'em?
it was 4-way, no limit hold'em, and it's 4-way. It was when the cup was 200,000, and it's 4-way action. And the flop came 7-8 heart with the king, and Lyle have the nut flush Ace king of heart.
Oh, he was blocking your hearts.
So
Wow.
the nut flush with the and Gus flop top set, bottom set, medium set, eights, and there was a raise and a re-raise before the flop. So each of us put, I think, about 20,000 before the flop, and after the flop, Lyle check, Gus bet, I call, Lyle raise, Gus smooth call, and I call, and the six of heart came on the turn.
Oh my.
So now Lyle lead, and I didn't have to do anything else.
No, of course not.
Gus call, and
he's got the nut flush.
We put everything. We put the 680. Was because
Gus wasn't scared of hearts.
No.
And Gus was just like the board will pair.
So
don't
until
worry.
today, 9-10 for me is 9-10 suited. 9-10
Yeah.
hard is the best hand. Yeah.
Oh, that must have been so deflating to Lyle to see that. to see. To turn over.
Between Lyle and Billy and Doyle, they've seen everything. You know what's amazing about Doyle and Lyle too? They remember hands that they play from 20 years ago. Doyle remind me some hands that I have, that you have quad against my top set, full house, and stuff that, how can you remember? It's
Yeah.
like the computer never,
Yeah, when I interviewed Doyle, I was surprised at how he recalled dates and names so easily.
Amazing, really
After,
amazing.
60 plus years in the game. You have a WPT title. What about a good swap or piece you've ever had of anybody? Has anybody ever come through in a tournament for you?
Oh, yes.
Obviously, you have a great swap story against.
Scotty.
Well, I meant Andy Beal.
Oh, yeah. No, this is the cooperation I made
Yeah.
very good. Half of the time I was part of the cooperation, and I make few $1 million with them,
Exactly.
And I never play because I never thought that I'm a good limit hold'em players. And I was a captain, and one of the, me and David Gray was a captain when he didn't want to play the Bellagio because Bellagio is not good for him. So we went to the win, and then in the win, after losing 10 million, we cashed 37 million. And I remember we came back with it, and everybody got his share, and it was a wonderful feeling. But other than David Levy, my friend, from Israel, that I take small pieces here and there, I realized right away I used to take a lot of pieces. I used to put a lot of people in tournament. It's a lose-lose situation.
I mean, you're telling people now, don't come up to you.
Yeah.
Leave
exactly.
leave Ellie alone, okay?
It's too much headache, and it's the end of the. I mean, even Phil Ivey. I remember the days that David Williams used to run for Phil Ivey and used to have paper to write everything down, and Daniel Negreanu. Everybody done with the staking. The staking is not a good situation. But I have a good story because we're playing in Bobby's room, and Scotty Wynn walking in like that, and he said, "Guys, anybody want to put me?" So
into what?
The horse.
Okay. Oh, this is the 50K horse?
Yeah.
Man.
So I look at David Benjamin. David Benjamin look at me. Each of us got 300, 400,000 next to us. I said to David, let's take this. I took a $25,000 and I throw it to Scotty.
One chip. Here's the buy-in.
Yes. And
man.
we won a third of it. So I remember we forgot completely. And then the next day we're playing. All of a sudden we see Scotty's make the final table. And then 6 people, 5 people, 4 people, 3 people. So David Benjamin said, leave the chips, go over there. You have to root for him. So when there was 300, I go over there, and don't worry, Scotty was waiting and give me, in 25,000 of Rio, he gave me $780,000.
Oh, man.
So that's my biggest score ever staking someone.
And he was having some Michelobs that night, too.
Oh, a lot of Michelob. And actually, right there, a week later, I put him over here in Bellagio for also a small tournament, and we won a tour. Like, he gave me $150,000. But
man,
those are the only 2 times that I have the best story about the Michelob. Scotty is Scotty baby, right? Nobody like him. He does something that nobody knows. He knows how to get deep to tournament. He's such a good player. WPT, my WPT so we start like 300 and some people.
So the Mirage Poker Showdown in 2004.
Correct. And then of course, Gabe Kaplan make the final table, and me and Lee and Scotty and Daniel Negreanu put Scotty.
Oh, really?
One. Yeah. So I put in my book the way I want it. Todd Bronson just wrote it down when the latest Jim Meehan,
yeah,
the Minneapolis Jim died. So Todd Bronson wrote on a Twitter, guys, I have a nice story for you. Minneapolis gym is why Eli Elezra won the WPT, and that's true. I was playing. There was a big game in Bellagio. I didn't know why. I came to play the 10,000.
I think I read this. Todd was like really tilted by him.
Yeah.
And
no, I was the tilted.
Oh,
the guy was never shut up, and he's always with his cigarette, and I couldn't take it. And finally, I play like suited connected, and Todd flop a top set, and then I bet he raised me. I raised him. Todd wanted to put me all in, or he put me all in, whatever. And then the guy kept talking, and I said to Todd, you're gonna win this spot because I can't stand it anymore. And I push all the chips in. Of course, I hit my 2-outer or whatever, and I end up winning this tournament.
You were just so tilted. You were just like, get me out of here. And of course, poor Todd takes the brunt of it.
And you know what? 2 things about this tournament. I remember in the end of it, I said, see, kids, I talked to they interview me. You said you never see me on TV, so finally you can see me on TV.
You kids, yeah.
That's when I picked the champagne. But then, remember that Daniel came and said to Scotty, I'm sorry, man, you cannot drink in a final table.
Yeah,
and
you can't
I
tell
knew,
Scotty that.
listen, I knew that's the biggest mistake Daniel made. The biggest. And he was there because I knew that I have a chance. A day before, Scotty was basically drinking, every 5 minutes he drank Michelob, and we were 14 or 15. Toby Maguire made it, and Tony G made it. And I remember he didn't have no fear. People trying to do something, all in. The next things you know, Scotty got all the chips. So he came with like huge lead to the final table, and I was third. And then he didn't let him drink, and guess what happened?
Yeah.
He was out fifth because I knew that Scotty needed a drink to do something.
Scotty had a drink when he won the main event. I didn't think, was that your Madison put him in or something?
Yes,
like that?
That's when Madison put him in. Madison told me that, and that's when.
I wonder if Scotty's had all of himself in any of his big scores.
I love it. I love his line over there. When you call, baby, if you want to call, that's what we will ask.
Yeah, he had a drink that time, so Scotty needs a drink.
That's my WPT stories. Yeah.
Who's the best player we've never heard of? A lot of times we pay attention more to tournament players than cash game people. Who would you like to give a little love to?
Your buddy.
Who's my buddy?
Your buddy, Randy Roy. Actually, you heard about him, but I think he's a very good player that not many people heard about him. He's playing with us in the regular games all the time. And then I would say a couple of people that come once. They don't come a lot, but they coming, the New Jersey guys. A guy named Long is very good players. I don't know if you heard about him. And I play with several of them. I have to think about it, but yes, they don't like to play tournaments, so you never heard about them, but they like to play cash only.
Yeah, I think people would be surprised if they walked into Bobby's room or the Ivy room today and they saw the lineup. There's a lot of high stakes guys. You're just like, who's that? That guy's never been on TV.
There's
before.
Few Russian guys that I heard very, very good. They're playing now over there.
Yeah. What was the worst job you had before poker? You had a lot of jobs. Which one was the worst?
I work in a pickle company. Twice. It's a pickle company, like pickle cucumbers.
Yeah.
And that was so stinky. I worked there like 8-10 hours a day when I was like.
What were your pickle duties? The canning or?
Yeah, I was actually
brining or.
Yeah, brining basically. Yeah.
I don't eat pickles. I shouldn't know this much about them. All right, pickles are bad. Okay, if not for poker, what would you be doing?
I would. I fell in love with the game of golf now. I'm 105, 110. People will tell you that I'm lying. I'm probably more than that, but I love golf. I love the going out there for 4 hours, don't touch your phone, have a cigar in your mouth, and have a drink, a beer or whatever. But what I would do, I would probably be a businessman someplace that try to make enough money to be able to travel a lot, because traveling is amazing, to see the world. Start
another business,
to meet a lot of people, yeah.
Well, how's your golf game going?
Still,
I know you're not going to tell the truth because you got to set up your
well,
marks for
I
later.
can tell you, no, I'm not setting up nobody. I'm golfing with all my buddies, which is, Carol and her husband Martin taking us to Cabo usually, and that's my best time in golf. We try to golf every day, and when I'm here in Vegas, I would tell you I golf probably 30 times in my life, and I'm just having so much fun, man.
Oh, this is a newfound hobby.
Yeah,
then.
it's a new fun. Yeah, completely.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not good, believe me. I'm really bad. I lose a lot of balls.
None of us are good. It's just an obsession. Your favorite poker destination?
Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
It's not even close. I mean, I enjoyed it so much. Between that and watching tennis, my kids love tennis. He's playing a lot, and going to every day to play the tennis, coming in, playing poker over there at the Crown, and then go after that to New Zealand and go watching. I mean, the people in Australia is amazing. I love those people.
Was that your favorite trip you ever took? I mean, you must
Yes.
have seen every part of the world.
I went to all the places in Europe, and I went to but that's my favorite trip I ever took. It was supposed to be 3 weeks. It ended up 6 weeks.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Doubled it, huh?
Yeah, and I'm gonna go again soon. I want to go take my kids to see the Australian Open over there. So I'll go.
Is there anything still left on your bucket list that you haven't done?
And the book basically was the last one. And
Well, I meant as far as destinations.
oh, destination.
I'm sure you've done everything, seen everything.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody offer me tomorrow to go to a certain place, I'll definitely travel because I like to meet new people and see new places.
All right. Are there any poker rules that should be altered or eliminated?
No, but I'm a big fan of the big blind ante.
Mm-hmm. That's
This
the
is
popular answer.
unbelievable now, and I love the idea that they let us use our own phone. And of course, I'm against big time, and I'm an old school. I'm big time against the sunglasses and the hoodie. So if anybody can change those rules, and Matt Savage is definitely one of those guys. They can.
That's right. There was a tournament this summer that he ran, I think, at Aria. It was a no sunglasses, no hoodie tournament, or maybe it was.
I love it.
Commerce.
Listen, I think that Matt Savage is going in the right direction. I can tell you that me as ambassador, and I call myself, this poker is a sport. And if you see me, I'm like, Gus is one of the best on this one. If some fan come, want picture and signature, he always give it to them in this. Doyle, sometime when he win, he'll do it. When he loses, he's like grouchy, and Phil Ivey, he's running away. But a lot of people...
Phil won't even talk to the media.
Yeah, a lot of people like Mike Saxton and stuff, they're all very good. Phil Almuth and Daniel. My God, Daniel is the best.
Yeah,
He'll
Daniel
always
get up in the
take
middle of a
picture
hand.
and sign and do whatever. We need to do it. We need to do it because amateurs and people that love to play poker and businessmen that will come and bring more money to our economy, we need to be good to the people. And sunglasses and hoodie and tanking for 2 minutes before doing or 5 minutes, those are the cancer to our sport.
And I assume that is more important for you at the higher stakes because of the fact that you play with people who want to have a good experience. It's not just about who wins and loses. It's about enjoying yourself. And
Absolutely.
that's
correct.
why the lineups have to be full of people who are fun.
Yeah, Doyle many time, he would tell you, I don't want to name, but he would, I can have at least 10 people in my mind. He said, if it would be my poker room, those people will never stop legs in the poker room because they kill the game, they slow the game, and they are bad for the environment.
Yeah. You got to give action to get action.
Exactly.
Headphones on at the table? You said no sunglasses or hoodies. What about headphones?
Headphones, the people, sometimes in poker, no limit, you have to have that sometime because you either have the audio on and listen to a book or because you need to wait. You have to be patient. You can't just sit down like that. So headphone, but definitely at least 1 ear out. That way you don't have to hear this guy say all in and then you say all in behind him. It's happened to me a couple of times.
What do you listen to at the table? So what do you like?
Mostly Israeli music. Yeah, like old school Israeli music.
Give me a band name that I could Google.
It's called Kaveret.
Kaveret.
Or Chava Alberstein. She's a really, really good one that old school that I love her songs and stuff.
All right, I'll just replay this podcast and Shazam what you just said to find it. We end the podcast the same way every time. I need to get you back to your game, I know. Okay. But we end the podcast the same way every time with a question from the random question generator. So let's click and load. Sorry, the internet's not great here.
It's okay.
I'm not going to ask you that one because that's for women. Oh, what story does your family always tell about you? So maybe your kids? Do the kids have a funny story about dad that they always
Well,
tell?
yes, they always
Or
tell
your
him.
wife?
They always tell him the way I'm a. You know, when I'm eating, I like to eat. So when I go to new
What does
places,
that mean?
what I'm saying, when I go to new places or new restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we go to Israel or we go to any place in Europe, whatever, so they usually saying when they bring us the menu and I never eat certain food, I always tell them, give me all that, and turn the menu and give me all that and that. So
Yeah.
basically, the table filled with about 30
The
plates,
left side of the
and
menu
you
and
taste
the
and
right.
everything. So that's what they said. That's I do it with my heart. You
So
know, I
your
gotta
eyes
do
are
that.
bigger than your stomach.
That's right. But then we like it.
That's
I
an
mean,
amazing way to eat a meal, by the way. I mean, how many times have you done this where you ordered the
many
menu?
times, many.
Do you just
at least
have-
30, 40 times?
Do you have FOMO, fear of missing out? Like you don't want to miss that one dish on the menu that's
Exactly.
amazing.
If you see Andrew Zimmerman and you go to those places in the Travel Channel and you never miss anything,
You must love tapas.
yes.
Lots of little plates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. I think I've done that once. So it was with a poker player, and he only ordered half the menu, and it was still 8 times the amount of food we could eat. So.
I went with Phil Ivey to when we won the 27 million. He took us to Yellowtail, and
not a long trip.
I never see something like we were about 8 or 9 players. He must have ordered 500 sashimi pieces and sushi pieces, and then the biggest tequila sake bottles, and we were so wasted, but we have so much food weight. I mean, Phil Ivey is just something else. We went with him to Bahamas, and we took a private jet, and I never see something like that in my life. You have a stack of hundreds, and every time somebody opened the door, this give.
He just gives $100 bills a
He
tip.
is the biggest tipper after Chip Reese that I've seen tip before.
I mean, there's that viral photo of him getting a massage at the series. I don't know if you've seen it, and he's just got like $8,000 or $9,000 in hundreds sitting on the floor. No one, just unaccompanied.
Yeah,
no
I did see
rubber
it.
band, even not in a wallet, on the floor. No one's looking. No one's touching it. But yeah, he's definitely got some stories. What's the biggest? Do you ever play credit card roulette for a big meal?
Yeah, for probably a couple of $1,000. I went with I think me and Frank Casella won it, but it was only like $2,000. You know,
Not too much.
not too much. And then in one of those poker night in America, yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
No, then yeah.
Well, hopefully you do more damage than that today. I'm gonna let you get back to the Ivy room. Hopefully you crush it
Thank you.
and continue to do. And also, good luck to your book.
Thank you.
For those of you listening, get out to Amazon and check out the book. What's the name of the book?
It's called Pulling the Trigger by Eli Elezra. And the reason is Mike Saxton. The very last hand, I had like 2.5 million. Lee pushed it all in with 1.5 million. And I have ace queen offsuit and Mike Saxton in the background. Would Eli Elezra pull the trigger? Would he call him? I end up calling it 4-5.
Yeah,
Suited.
pull the trigger worked out for you.
Yeah, so Pulling the Trigger, it's about my life story. If you guys want to learn more about poker, don't buy it.
No strategy in it whatsoever.
That's right.
I like it. Thank you, Ellie. So
Thank you,
much.
Julio,
Good
for
luck.
having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's the show. Thank you once again to Eli. You can see what he's up to on Twitter at Eli Elezra 1. That's the number 1. Again, be sure to get his book. It's out there on Amazon right now. Pulling the Trigger, the autobiography of poker pro Eli Elezra. I also want to thank Maury Eskandani for providing the recording venue and Randy Ohel for convincing Eli to do the podcast in the first place. If this was your first episode of the podcast, welcome. Please go ahead and subscribe. Poker Stories is available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and basically everywhere podcasts can be played. If you do us the favor of leaving a rating and a review, let us know about it with an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com, and we can hook you up with a free digital subscription to Card Player Magazine. That's right, just give us those 5 stars, say a few nice words, and boom, free poker content. Speaking of free poker content, thank you for tuning in to this podcast.